What's up, everybody? A Spirit with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on the Space Engineers Inspiration series. We're starting things off today with the Saturn Mark IV. Now, this one is pretty basic of a description. It doesn't really explain much about the ship other than just some of its capabilities, like that it has a hangar for small ships and it's survival ready and stuff like that. So most of this is just me guessworking on a lot of like what it's for and all that kind of stuff. You can read some of the specifics as far as how many guns it has and things like that, if I remember correctly. But as far as overall descriptions of layouts or purpose or anything like that, it's not really that explained. I kind of peg this as somewhat between a carrier and a combat ship, because it has enough weapons and things on it that I could definitely see it holding its own, but it also has a couple of hangar type things and docking clamps and stuff too, so it may kind of be a hybrid in that regard. I do like the design overall, though. I like the con tower type thing, the bridge up here, and it's got the four kind of almost like nacelle engines off the back kind of thing, which I think is a nice touch. I like that style. There's some oxygen farms here. It does say it's survival ready, so I'm assuming it has everything like, you know, your oxygen farms, oxygen tanks, assemblers, refineries, all that stuff. And we have what looks to be a main hangar down the center here. There's a couple of places just to latch on with the connectors, but then there's actually like a hangar door here. Unfortunately, I'm not really seeing a button to open it from the exterior. I wasn't sure if it was sensor driven or not, and it does not appear to be anyway. So that may not be something you can use as a primary entrance or exit unless there's someone in the ship to open the door for you, I'm assuming. I'm thinking these on the sides can be used as like boarding ramps kind of thing. And what do we have here? Vents. Oh, okay, so that's actually backwards of what I wanted to do. And that's pretty interesting. It has a little readout thing here up on the screen, which is pretty cool. It must be fairly complex, though, because I am getting a fairly decent hit to the frame rate, and it's pretty consistent. It's not really like, well, you're looking at something that's really detailed or something. It seems to have generally been... this is kind of a consistent drop in frames, so it must be fairly complex and have a lot of detail to it. We got a hangar over here. Oh, wow. It's a big hangar. I wasn't expecting it to have that many ships. But yeah, this has quite a bit going on. Okay, and that's the gravity generator, looks like. I still don't see a button for these, so there must be a hangar control type room area thing. We have this cool little maintenance area, it looks like, which is neat. I like that little touch. And then that probably goes down to the second floor, or the first floor. And I think the sign said this was the canteen. So... this is supposed to be like the canteen area, though I will say this probably could have benefited a little bit from mods in order to give you kind of a better way to work with it. We have the bridge, captain's cabin, medical section, crew quarters, rear landing pad, control room, cargo, hangar, canteen, docking clamps, cryo room, engine room. Okay, so we're in deck 4 then, by the looks of things. Upper hangar door, main hangar door. So here's your... I think that's the main controls for the upper and main is probably what we're looking at there. Yeah, canteen, deck 4. And we came in, I guess that would make this deck 5. Probably, or no, I guess this is still 4. Okay. And there's your cryo chamber room. is this 5? That's still hangar. The stairs are kind of confusing me a little bit because you go down one row and you're at a different... Yeah, here we go, deck 5. So this is the hangar access point, which we can see there, and the maintenance rooms. I don't know where the maintenance part is. Ah, there we go. Jump drive and maintenance is also on the left. So if we go this way, this definitely looks like a maintenance room. Complete with all of your tanks and stuff, it looks like. Uh-oh. Messing with air vents again. I am always screwing up airlocks. Not air vents, airlocks. I'm always screwing up airlocks. I'm guessing this is not a pressurized area, though, because the rest of the ship seems to be, and when we open this door, it vented, so I'm assuming there's at some point where this is either just not ventilated, which is possible, or that area is actually open. Whoops. Wrong button. Okay, so this should put us out... We went up again, so we're probably back on deck 4, I imagine. Unless we just went lower. Where's the sign? I need a sign. Oh, this is deck 3. Okay, now I'm lost. Now I'm lost. This is the control room. Alright, so this is where you would run the hangar stuff. And here's the open and close for the doors and the vents and all that stuff. So, while that's not an exterior entrance or exit kind of thing, without somebody... You'd basically have to have somebody running it from in here to open the door. It didn't seem like there was any external... what's going on? Go. It didn't seem like there was any external buttons or anything to open that hangar from the outside. So I'm sure it's a primary entrance and stuff for ships coming in and out of the ship, but you would need somebody already on board kind of thing. Or leave the door open, I guess, if you were playing it single player. Starboard crew quarters. So we got crew quarters here. Very, no fuss, no muss. Nothing fancy. I like these catwalk areas, though. I've always been a fan of these, where you've got, like, fall-offs on the edge, and then you just have, like, the railings and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess it just gave it more of an industrial look that I thought was kind of cool. This looks like the... Not quite bridge, I don't think. We're not high enough, I don't think, for that. This is technically the bridge, and then the captain's cabin is all on this deck, so I'm guessing... Ah, it lied. There's a medical station. Or section. That didn't say it was on deck 1. Oh, wait, no. I take that back. It did not lie. That was deck 1, and then deck 0 is the captain's cabin and all that stuff. So we're not actually on the deck I thought we were on. My bad. I caught myself. I corrected it. Don't worry about it. Alright, so now we're probably going up to deck 0. Here we go. So let's check out the captain's cabin. Ooh. It's got a very nice view. For any of you that have been playing Mass Effect Andromeda, because I have, that's one thing I really liked about the new Tempest ship, is where the captain's cabin is located and how it's laid out. Has another one of these like really cool views like this, where it's very, not quite wraparound, but very wrapping, like it kind of bends and arcs around the front of the nose of the ship. And so you get this real radial open view from your cabin kind of thing, which is really cool. I really like that effect. Because, I mean, that's part of the big appeal to being a space explorer or a ship captain, is like looking out into the vastness of space, you know. So, I thought that was pretty cool. And we got little readouts here for speed and hydrogen and power and all that good stuff. Now, beyond that, I don't think there was supposed to be anything super fancy or anything about it. Like I said, the description was really light on some of the features and whatnot, so I don't think there was anything too crazy outside the norm. We can use our new HUD to check some things like the acceleration. You can see it's got a nice little arc now to kind of give you an idea of how fast it can speed up and stuff, which actually for the size of the ship is not bad. I mean, it weighs a ton. Like, you can tell the weight up underneath the 3 readouts over on the right bottom corner. So it's very heavy. So for this big of a ship, for it to accelerate that quickly and stuff, and actually it doesn't turn too bad either. So yeah, overall, I'm actually really surprised by the maneuverability of it. And then you've got an kind of like a, not really a hangar, but a landing pad back here that has what appears to be an entrance back into the rest of the ship and all that stuff. So overall, I really liked it. I definitely liked the exterior design. I thought it was really cool. Actually, the bridge location and con tower looking kind of setup almost reminds me a little bit of the Gundam Seed carrier ship that they used. So on that note, though, I think we're going to wrap this one up, and let's move on to the next one. Alright, so next up we have the Hammerhead Corvette. This is a Star Wars build, obviously, for those of you that may or may not know. Now, the interesting part to this, or what I found interesting, is that when I was reading the description, this is actually, whether it be based on or whatever, the original builder of it was building it off of the Rogue One Hammerhead Corvette, which is very intriguing to me, because really where these ships were primarily used was Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic MMO. So it's, for those of you that may not know, I'm not quite what you would consider like a fanatic, like eat, sleep, and breathe, go crazy, go nuts, but I'm a pretty decently invested fan of Star Wars, and particularly loved Knights of the Old Republic and that era. And while when Disney bought it, it became uncanon, or Legends, I love how official canonized stuff coming out of Disney is starting to hat nod or little breadcrumb trail used little pieces from the Old Republic series. It gives me hope that eventually they'll canonize it, and Darth Revan and all that stuff will actually be official storyline that they could use later in movies or whatever. It's kind of one of those fan dreams of mine. I hope they do it one day. And so when, like, Star Wars Rebels has ships like this, and now in Rogue One, I actually didn't notice it the first time I saw Rogue One, and then it was pointed out later when I was watching a YouTube video about, like, all the different theories and everything. But anyways, back to the build. The build is actually really good, at least from the outside. I haven't done any interior looks or anything like that yet, but the outside is really accurate, and it's supposed to be a one-to-one. Who can say? I mean, unless you're really getting nitpicky with some book about blueprints and the designs and everything, I don't know if it's actually one-to-one. It looks right as far as comparison and size and stuff. It looks like it's about a one-to-one. I don't really know. I should also note... Oh, now this is interesting. I don't know if there's interior pathways to the back or not. We'll find out, I guess. Let's see. Timer block. Exit bridge. Enter. Alright, so we'll set that one, and I'm guessing it'll vent all this and lock the doors and open this one, is my theory. It's cool. It has a little blinky light and everything, too, let you know. And I don't know what this is, but for some reason I'm getting some kind of... At least me, my eyes, my eyeballs, are getting this kind of atmospheric thing from the lighting. I don't know if anyone else can see that, but it isn't there. I know it's not there, but it almost kind of looks like there's a little haze around the lights, which is really cool. Very, very accurate for a Star Wars effect. They did a lot of that kind of stuff in the cinematography. But yeah, the interiors are kind of hard to judge because I don't think they've ever really showed off too much of the interiors of one of these ships, even in Knights and stuff. They might have in a couple of cutscenes. Actually, I take that back, because if you're going off the Rogue One and that's all you're basing it off of, then no. They didn't really show any interiors that I know of, because I don't think these ships were really predominant in the fleet anyway to begin with. But in Knights of the Old Republic, however, this would basically be the same ship that's the Endar Spire, which you run around quite a bit through. It was still an older game, so the tech wasn't quite available to where you could just run around and go throughout the entire ship like something like this. It was carefully crafted areas kind of thing, but you did get to see the bridge and stuff like that, so that would just depend on the builder. If the builder was familiar with that series or something and took the time to do that. I believe the description said the interior was made up. I don't know, so don't quote me on that. Like always, the links go to the actual workshop files. You can read the description for yourself. And it does have pathways that lead back to the rest of the ship, so that's cool. But this doesn't look familiar to me. As far as, even though they're using different blocks and things like that, usually if something's laid out the same, you can kind of see it. It still is kind of there. And I'm not really seeing a whole lot of familiarity to this, to the original Knights design. But again, if you're just going off of Rogue One, I don't think they ever showed the inside of one of these, and thus you would have no idea what they look like. This works fine, though. I mean, it looks cool. I like this extended hallway, actually. I mean, I'm not sure I would like some of this stuff for, like, a survival where you actually had to run all the way back here or something. But in terms of design and making a cool-looking ship and atmosphere and stuff, I do like that long hallway back there. That works pretty well. And this comes back to the... I guess this is crew... No, this isn't crew quarters. Not really sure what this is. Maybe observation? This is a barracks of some kind, but I don't know what this is for. It's basically just a room with windows. But yeah, I like the overhead. You can see the mechanics of the ship and the guts of it and all that kind of stuff. It works really well. I like it. But that is something you have to take into account of when you're looking at these. Ooh, this is cool. I don't know what these are. What is that? Oh, they might be shields. It is important to note this is a blueprint, thus it's not a world file, so you will have to download the mods. There are two. It's the Star Wars Weapon Pack and the Energy Shield mod. It's possible these are the shields. That's kind of what they look like. Those look like shield generators, because I use them in my Corvette build. So that's probably the shield generator. That says radiation. That makes me think that's the reactor engine room. Ooh, very nice. Like I said in the last build, I love these catwalks where there's stuff under you or ways you could fall off. It's very sci-fi-y to me. I don't know if they'd actually do some of this stuff in, like, if we ever get to the point where we could build ships like this, and it's not fiction anymore. I don't know, because in some ways I can see the merit to the design of it being like, you know, you can keep things separated, you get a clear path, blah, blah, blah. But in some ways it almost seems like a waste of space, like you've left a lot of this open that you could have filled in with other things. Why is this door having so many problems? Open. Okay. Don't open. I'm confused. Unless there's a very, very, very long delay to that. I don't know why that's having problems. But some of you may know what I'm getting at. If I'm not explaining it correctly, I apologize. But you know, it's kind of like there's stuff like this where there's just a lot of empty air, and frankly, I always felt like in reality, if you were building a ship, most of the time engineers and stuff would try and maximize space more. I like the look of this when you're dealing with science fiction or video games or movies or whatever. I just don't know if when we got to the point of building ships like this, if we'd actually do it this way or not. But if I always feel like this is very space sci-fi, of having catwalks and, you know, Star Wars, Star Trek, all those kinds of shows and series, everything in that vein. You know, you get a lot of, actually, there was an elevator type passageway over here I wanted to check out. But you get a lot of, you know, the reactors that are suspended out over a or next to a catwalk, and there's nothing protecting you, and you can always fall off, and you always have fight scenes on those, and blah, 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 blah. Projector. What are you projecting? Ah, actually, that's really cool. I don't know what it's supposed to... I mean, I know in the game it's like a spherical gravity generator, but I don't really know what it's supposed to be. Maybe it's the Death Star or something. It's a Star Wars build, so, you know, it's like, ah, this is the new round ball of death. But that's really cool. I like the addition of the spotlight there. That adds something to it. Alright, so... Oh, there's one on both sides. Oh, okay. I really like that design. I really like those rooms. Those are cool looking. This is the jump drive area, and you can see the other walkway down there. I'm trying to find... I guess that main area that we were at before was already the bridge. I always end up usually trying to do the bridge last, but I think I did that first. Oh, cryo chambers. Okay, I was like, what is this? Couldn't figure out what it was. This goes back and down. Oh, okay. We've seen where this comes out to then, so now we're going up. Okay, I gotcha. Now I get it. And medbay up here. Cool, cool. So overall, I really like the build, especially the exterior. The exterior is really good in terms of keeping to the original design. It's very accurate in my opinion. I'm no engineer or anything by any stretch, but it looked really good to me. The interior is really good as well. I like it. If you were going for a more authentic, it doesn't... I don't think... It's been a long time since I looked at like the Endar Spire layout and stuff, but I don't think this is really accurate to the way the ship actually is in the storyline. But if you had to deviate from the storyline, this is a good way to do it. It's laid out really well, and I like some of the design elements to it and stuff, so... I think that's going to do it for this one. Let's move on to the last one. Alright, so last but not least, we have the Typhoon carrier. Now, I will say this right off the bat. This one is a very large build. Well, not very large. That's all relative, but it's a decent build to where I don't think it's really using any mods or anything, and it's still doing a decent performance hit in certain areas when I've gotten close to certain spots and things. So, bear that in mind. If you really like it and decide you want to use it or something, it can be a bit performance heavy. The other thing is, this was actually a suggestion from the comments of the last week's episode. I don't believe, I could be wrong, but I don't believe it was designed or built by the commenter, subscriber, all that stuff, but it was a community suggestion kind of thing. It was somebody that watched the last episode that mentioned, hey, you should look at this one. So I looked at it and I thought it was really cool, so I decided to include it. I'm not sure. It'll probably depend on the performance that it gives me, and if I take too big of a frame rate hit, on how involved or how detailed of a showcase I give of it, kind of thing. Because if it gets too frame rate heavy, then I might just let you guys go through and see whatever else I miss, because it is a very big ship too. So as far as getting through and seeing every little room, I can't guarantee that I'll see everything, but one thing is, if you read the description, I don't know that there's many things this ship doesn't have. It's designed to primarily be a support carrier, in that, like, if you send out fighters or ships and they get damaged, they can come back. That's why there's welders here and stuff like that, is it's designed to carry a lot of ships or smaller fighters and repair them and resupply, all that kind of stuff. But it also has quite a few weapons and things to where I'm sure it could hold its own in a fight. Again, like with a lot of these big carrier type things, just because they can hold their own, that's not really what they were like designed for, I'm not sure I'd want to go take on like a destroyer type of thing that's all it's good for is blowing stuff up. So bear that in mind. But it does have, like, broadside wise, that's nasty. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 cells of 4. Oh, 5. So 5 cells of 4. No, 5 cells of 8. Jeez. Holy crap. So, yeah, that's at least, like, if you click all of them once, you'd be firing 40 missiles, if my math's right. So as fast as those large rocket launchers fire, that's kind of insane. So it may not have guns all over everywhere to where it's always going to be a force to be reckoned with, but if you get on its side, you're going to have a bad day. Yeah. So, like I said, that's kind of one of those things where knowing your ship is a good part. Especially, like, I play single player mostly and just kind of do my own thing, and at worst I fight pirates. But if you're on a multiplayer server and there's PvP involved and stuff like that, you need to make sure you know what your ship's capable of. So, this is classified as a carrier, so it's not really... engineering, airlock... I'm trying to find the main door. Depressurize... Inner... Okay, I guess that's the outer one. Whoops. No oxygen blocks found. Okay. Where's that's the inner, so where's the outer? Outer. So we'll shut that. So I didn't turn the depressurizing part off, I guess. Or on. Whichever way I should have done it. I didn't do it right. But that's kind of par for the course. I never do the airlocks right. So. Though, I take that back. I don't know that I don't always do airlocks right, or if it's just that they haven't really done a good job of designing the airflow system. As far as, a couple of people suggested when I was building my own ship that one of the things that makes things easiest for the airlock system is to have them on separate air tanks to where it's not tied into the system, because there's times where the system will refill itself to the point that it can't pull the air in the room back out. And so you can tell it to depressurize, but the air never actually goes anywhere, and then when you open the door, it vents out, and so you're basically just wasting air every time you open the door. So the simplest, most efficient way, I've been told, I'm no expert by any stretch, is to basically do a vent with its own tank or something, and then it pulls it into an empty tank, and there's nothing filling that tank back up, so it always has room. That's what I've been kind of told is the most efficient way, so you don't waste air. But if you do it just, everything's plugged into the conveyor system, you'll get times where even if you do the airlock sequence right, it still vents stuff. By the way, I really like the atmosphere of this like kind of dark but lit main corridor hallway here. I really like that. Like we were talking before, some things I don't know if they're real necessary or viable in survival mode, but for just aesthetics and design, they look really cool. And once again, catwalks leading to reactors. Fun, cool, love it. Always a good choice. I'm not really sure what's going on with the lights. I don't know if there's sensors involved, or if it's distance and I'm getting too far away and then they don't turn on. I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but I'm not doing anything. I didn't tamper with anything. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. Leave me alone. Alright. Now, where am I? I always get lost in these big ships. It needs to be like a map or something. And I really like this kind of thing, these mirrored angle ramps for corridor hallways and stuff like that. It really makes me think of Star Wars, specifically, like the Death Star, where they had the cell block hangar hallways that were kind of this shape, and Star Destroyers had stuff like that. And I'm no expert, but if my memory serves me properly, I believe it was predominantly Imperial designs that had that kind of, not really octagon, but kind of octagon shape to their designs of stuff. So whenever I see that kind of stuff, I always think of like Star Destroyers or the Death Star or Imperial designs. But there's a reason they did that. It's because it looks cool. I like it. Though, there is the theory that it became cool because Star Wars did it. And if they hadn't done it, maybe it wouldn't have been so cool. Who knows? It's always funny to ponder stuff like that. This is clearly the battery room. I don't know why I'm wandering around in here. I mean, it's a dark battery room. Nothing to see here, people. Actually, it's the auxiliary battery room, so it's not even the primary. I am very lost, by the way. In case anyone was wondering why I'm kind of wandering around. I'm reading signs, but I have no idea where I'm going. Crew quarters and port airlock. I don't think we checked the crew quarters. That's cool. I always like to see what people will do with vanilla builds. I do so wish, though, that at some point, I mean, I understand that they're focusing on more of the actual game development side more so than some of the aesthetics and things as far as like blocks and stuff, but I do hope eventually that Space Engineers will follow suit with Empyrean and include non-modded but just straight vanilla and have more decorative blocks for you to work with. I think that would be a really welcomed, would be a good word, a very welcomed addition is adding more decorative blocks, because their block design, when they did the overhaul and the graphical update, I like what they did. I mean, the blocks look a lot better, and I'm a lot more pleased with the design of the aesthetics and everything. So to see them take that same kind of artistic eye and apply it to decorative blocks, I think would work out pretty well. One other thing that I wanted to note about this ship that the description mentioned was that there's actually 2 bridges from what I understand. I don't know that we've seen the other one, but I noticed this said Overwatch and Medical on the sign, and that's what reminded me about it. There's actually a battle bridge, I believe, for combat that's more secure, which I always thought that was a cool idea. They did that in... I mean, they've done that in a lot of things. It's not necessarily uncommon or anything, but I think the one that always stuck in my head was the D Enterprise, that it could separate from the saucer and had like the battle bridge kind of thing. Though, admittedly, I don't see a sign, so I guess this looks more like a hangar control room, but this could be the battle bridge one. I'm not really sure, but it's in there somewhere, because I remember them saying so in the description that there is... Yep, there we go, battle bridge. Actually, no, I take that back. That's the battle bride. Yeah, just so we're clear. There is no battle bridge, apparently. It's a battle bride. So, don't tick off the bride. That's all I'm saying. I do love typos. It's always so fun. I try not to poke too much fun in, quite honestly. I make jokes about typos and things when I see them or something, but being very blunt, I try not to make too much of actual, like, ridicule or something. I mean, I make jokes and fun, but I really try not to be actual, like, derogatory or demeaning or something, because there's a lot of players in the Space Engineers community that English or something is not their first language. We've seen builds before that they don't even have English, like all of the panel readouts are in Russian or Czech or something like that. So it's really not uncommon for, you know, somebody that it's not their first language or something to mess up. And I never know. I don't know these people that build this stuff, so I don't know. So I really try and be careful not to go too overboard with actually making fun. I mean, I don't mind making a joke or something, but because I'll screw with myself, even if I make a typo, I make fun of myself. So that I don't think is really bad. But just so I'm clear, I'm not actually like, hey, you people need to fix this stuff and learn how to type this. No, I'm not saying that at all, because there's quite a few people that I've had descriptions and stuff that I didn't even know how to read because it wasn't in English at all. So, all right, now I'm back to where I started from, even though I'm still lost. So I think I've seen most everything I'm probably going to look at. I'm not saying that I found everything. Actually, in fact, I probably didn't. but I saw kind of the basic things. If you'd like to look at more, as always, the links are in the description, as well as the proper titles and authors and all that stuff. So on that note, we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace!